Sword, Hell Scythe, Night Shield, and WizardArrow. Out of all 4 of the upcoming Beyblade X releases, which one is the worst? Really, the bays aren't even out yet, but if it was up to you, there would be an answer by a pretty big margin. I actually ran a poll on my community tab that asked that question of which of the upcoming Beyblade X bays is the worst. And with almost 5,000 votes, 71% of you said WizardArrow. That is the answer I would have chosen as well, but I'm a little surprised that it's 71% of the vote. There is also the fact that Sword and Hell Scythe have been pre-released, so more people have those, but still, 71% of the vote. So in this video, I'm going to talk about WizardArrow and why people may not like it, or at least the reasons why I don't like it, and also talk about some of the upcoming recolors we're getting, whether good or bad. So let's talk about WizardArrow. And yes, this bay is not out yet, so opinions are probably going to change. I mean, who knows? This bay could be like super meta like 4 or 5 months from now. But there are a couple of warning signs that kind of point to this being the worst one out of the 4. Let's start with the bits. This is the ball bits, and kind of interesting. Ball is more of a defense-oriented tip, and Night Shield uses needle, which is more stamina. So they kind of swapped them for Beyblade X. But because WizardArrow is using the ball bits, it means it's just going to be less aggressive than bays like Hell Scythe or Sword. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, not every bay needs to be flinging around the stadium, but because Beyblade X is a new series, it's a new system, a new gimmick, it's kind of obvious that more people will be excited about the more aggressive bays. And if you are interested in buying any of the upcoming Beyblade X bays like WizardArrow, go and check out Mall of Toys. Use code ilinnuc to get 5% off your purchase. Also, the ball and needle bits from Night Shield do have the worst burst resistance out of the 4 that are being released so far. Let's also talk about the ratchet, and while it is pretty cool that we have different height ratchets like 60, 80, soon to be 70 and 50, I'm sure. Because of how these bays are designed, I think that having your bay being taller could make the performance worse just from what I've seen. Just from the battles that I've done so far, whenever these bays get hit from the underside, that is a really big weak point, and that's where a lot of the bursts happen. So when this bay is using the ball bit, which has worse burst resistance, combined with being taller, it kind of is a recipe for maybe more bursting. And that's kind of what I've seen from other channels that have already unboxed WizardArrow, like Stalker or Peter Pig. They definitely can burst quite a bit. The system is still really early on, and there really hasn't been a lot of strategy that's come up yet. So the battles are kind of random as of right now, but I do think that this combination of parts from WizardArrow is a little bit of a weakness. Let's also talk about the way the bay looks. It is yellow. Not a lot of people like yellow, especially how highlighter yellow it is. It is kind of a dumb reason to not like the bay, I know, but I mean, whenever you compare yellow versus blue and red, it's kind of obvious that it's not going to be liked as much. I think the gear chip design is pretty cool. I think it's awesome how it's like a wizard that is shushing you, but the overall design of the bay just isn't nearly as interesting as the other 3. More people are going to like Sword's 3-bladed design versus WizardArrow kind of looking like Deep Chaos, which people don't really remember that bay for its design. Deep Chaos was pretty meta though. I also briefly want to talk about some of the recolors we're going to be getting at the release of Beyblade X, which is just like 9 days away. The launch of Beyblade X is pretty big. It's not just the stadium set, the battle pass, and the 4 main, starters. There's also a few boosters and a 3-on-3 set as well, but I think these are mostly kind of skippable unless you want to collect everything. And for the most part, the color schemes on these bays aren't amazing either. Let's look at the 3-on-3 set first. The first bay is Hell Scythe in this yellow color scheme, which once again, yellow is not my favorites, but it's okay. I like Hell Scythe. I think the fan favorite from this set is probably the red Night Shield though. I mean, it's kind of cool getting a defensive bay in a red color scheme, which is most people's favorite color. But the recolor that people don't really talk about is the green recolor of WizardArrow. I mean, it just doesn't look that good. I mean, obviously the wizard in the middle looks pretty nice, but I just don't think this color scheme fits WizardArrow. We're also getting a booster red version of WizardArrow as well, which is my favorite design of WizardArrow. I think it looks the best out of all of them, but I just think that its stamina design isn't as cool as the rest of the bays. Do you want to know what recolor I want to see? I want to see a standard metal version of Cobalt Drake. That's not in the rare get bay thing that's going to be super expensive, super hard to come by. I just want it to have a standard release. Cobalt Drake is probably my favorite Beyblade X release that is going to be really hard to get. But what do you guys think? Do you think that WizardArrow is overrated? Do you think it's underrated? Or do you think I should just stop talking until the bay actually comes out? But all of these bays are going to be releasing in just over a week. That's also in the next Koro drop, so I'm sure we'll see way more then. But that's going to wrap up this video. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Have fun, and bay away.